That almond pesto recipe of Adam's with a glass of wine was just superb. But I like to finish all of that off with a wonderful cup of coffee. But you've got to be able to get that nice cup of coffee, and I've come here to find out exactly what goes into the perfect cup of coffee, and Carly's going to teach me from Monjava. Hi Carly, how are you going?
Good, thank you.
Carly, what is the secret to a really good cup of coffee?
Well, there's not just one secret. Here at Monjava, a good, fresh, locally roasted product is where we start off. Good quality beans, grinding the coffee fresh to order, and extracting that coffee straight away through the espresso machine.
I'd like a nice, strong cappuccino.
Okay.
Please.
So, first important thing, we always make sure that the handle is nice and hot and dry and clean, and that's a really important thing. So we're going to grind the coffee fresh to order. Today what we're using is what we call an electronic grinder, and that allows us to grind the same quantity of coffee every time, which of course pre-grinding coffee is not what we desire, so grinding it fresh is very important. So tamping that coffee down, handle loaded into the group head, and we're extracting that coffee straight away. So we're going to make an espresso and a cappuccino.
Carly, what about temperature of the milk? Because sometimes you get a cappuccino and it's red hot, and other times it's just a nice warm cup of coffee.
Yeah.
So what's the perfect temperature?
We say between 60 to 70 degrees. That is determined ultimately by the barista. Today I'll be using a thermometer. I don't think you're ever too knowledgeable to second guess those sorts of things. So essentially what we're doing is adding air bubbles to the milk. So now that we've textured the milk, what we're left with is lots of tiny little bubbles. So the milk has a very seamless appearance to it. And what that means is that it has a very velvety texture in the mouth, which is important because ultimately we should be drinking our coffee straight away, and that's why we don't like to get the temperature too hot. So pouring straight into the cup. So a cappuccino doesn't need to be this huge mountain, and originally we were never dusted with chocolate. That's a bit more of an Australian thing, but of course we all like chocolate here.
Didn't know that.
We will do that.
Carly, thank you very much for that. There you are. That's how you do make a fabulous cup of coffee. But of course, always the proofs in the tasting. No sugar for me. Now that was a beautiful coffee that Carly made for me, but a lot is happening behind the scenes, and this really is the state-of-the-art roaster. The good thing about this, Nick just watches that screen. The beans are all over there in the containers. They blend them, they bring them in, and each batch is exactly the same. And that's the secret to roasting coffee.
I love a good coffee,